Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on a journey, starting with a simple yet incredibly profound image, hand in hand. It's a phrase that instantly brings up feelings of trust, connection, unwavering support.
Absolutely. It's very evocative.
And our sources for this deep dive, mainly a reflection by Pastor Warren W. Wiersbe, looking at Hebrews 8.15, they really show us how this small gesture holds, huge spiritual and human meaning.
Yeah, deep implications.
We're going to unpack how this hand-in-hand imagery illuminates some pretty deep truths. We'll look at God's covenants with humanity.
The old and the new.
Right,
Yeah.
and explore the kind of intricate dance of human relationships through life stages and link it all back to the spiritual foundation of family.
It's about more than just, literally holding hands.
Exactly. It's how we connect, guide, support each other, divinely and personally.
And what's really compelling here, I think, is connecting these ancient texts to such, universal human experiences.
Right.
Understanding that contrast between the old and new covenants, it's key.
Why is that so foundational?
Because it's the bedrock for understanding why God's relationship with us shifted, and how that shift gives us the ultimate template for this whole hand-in-hand dynamic we're exploring. Without grasping that change, the metaphor doesn't quite hit as hard.
Okay, let's dive right in then.
Yeah.
Our source starts with Hebrews 8.13, which makes a pretty strong statement. God speaks of a new covenant making the first one obsolete. Obsolete.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a strong word.
Especially for something God himself set up. So what exactly does this mean? Why would that original covenant become obsolete?
That's a great question, and it really hits the core of Wiersbe's reflection. Think of a covenant like a really serious agreement.
Okay.
The Old Covenant, the one at Mount Sinai with the Israelites, it was basically built on humanity's promise. The Israelites promised.
Right. Exodus 24.3 says, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do.
Exactly. Beautiful intention, a clear guide for living, but it really hinged on their commitment. Human promises.
Got it. So how is the new covenant different? Well, it completely flips that. It shifts the foundation from our promises to God's promises, unwavering ones. The writer of Hebrews really emphasizes God's I will. Verse 10 of chapter 8 actually says God's I will 3 times in the original language, though some translations might group them.
Interesting detail.
Yeah, and it's a crucial distinction for our deep dive today. Old covenant, what we promised. New covenant, what God promises for us. It's about his faithfulness, not our, often shaky efforts.
That distinction immediately makes me wonder, though, if God gave the Israelites this holy law, and the reflection says it was for their benefit.
To protect them.
Right, protect them from evil customs, sort of vaccinate them against sin. Why did this seemingly perfect system become obsolete? It sounds like a perfect guide from God. What went wrong?
And that's a vital point the reflection makes very clear. God found no flaw in his covenant or his law. 0.
Okay, so it wasn't the rules themselves.
Nope. The divine design was flawless, meant for their absolute good. The real problem, Wiersbe argues, wasn't the perfect law, but the people. Human nature.
Exactly. The core issue was their sinful nature. The law, perfect as it was, accomplished nothing in the sense that it just couldn't change the human heart.
It could show the standard, but not empower them to meet it.
Precisely.
Oh.
It could reveal sin, it could guide, yes, but it couldn't transform someone from the inside out. That deep change. The source says only God's grace could do that.
And Israel's history kind of bears that out, doesn't it?
It really does. Their repeated failure to keep their promises, their struggle with the old covenant, it led to repeated discipline and ultimately, the exile to Babylon.
Which wasn't God just giving up on them, right?
No, it was more a consequence of a system that relied on imperfect human performance. It showed just how much a different approach, one rooted in divine grace, was needed.
So let me see if I've got this. The old covenant was perfect in design, a great roadmap, but our inherent inability to consistently live up to it made a new grace-focused approach essential.
You've got it. It wasn't God changing his mind, but adapting to our limitations, offering a path that actually works for us.
Exactly. The new covenant isn't about God lowering standards. It's about him providing the way to meet those standards through his faithfulness and grace, not just our willpower.
Okay.
It fundamentally redefines the relationship. It moves from being mainly about our obligations to being founded on God's deep commitment to us, from transaction to, relationship.
A relationship built on his steadfastness?
Precisely.
That really does set the stage beautifully for our main theme, hand in hand. Such a simple phrase, but the source uses it to describe something so fundamental about God's relationship with us.
Yeah.
Something beyond just rules.
It really does, and this is where that metaphor starts to really come alive. Wiersbe describes God leading the Israelites out of Egypt, just like a father holding a child's hand.
Wow, picture that.
Yeah, just take a second. It's not a distant command, not just instructions shouted from afar. It's an image of gentle protection, closeness, direct personal guidance.
So God isn't just a king, but like a parent.
Exactly. A caring parent literally guiding them, giving them those holy laws for their benefit to set them apart. Almost like a parent teaching a child boundaries for their own safety. It's protective, intimate connection.
What's really striking, and I think so relatable for everyone, is how the reflection then takes this hand-in-hand idea beyond the divine. It applies it so beautifully to our human relationships throughout life. It paints this continuous, sort of evolving picture of support.
It's a really wonderful, fluid progression. Think about childhood. Our hands almost always raised upwards, right? Instinctively reaching for help, for guidance.
Supports?
Completely. We rely on our parents' hands to lead us forward, walking us to school, just navigating the world. It's all about trust and reliance then.
Then things shift.
They do. As we move into adulthood and partnership, our hands kind of shift to being held horizontally, side by side.
Okay.
Holding hands with partners, moving toward marriage, facing life together. The reflection even mentions that lovely Chinese tradition calling a wife Guanxina.
Which means
Literally, my hand. It's not just poetic, it's this deep cultural understanding of partnership. You're symbolically holding hands to navigate life together, build a family, shape a future, mutual support, shared direction.
that's beautiful. And then
Well, then comes parenthood. And our hands shift again, this time from parallel to downwards.
taking the lead.
Right. We become the ones leading, guiding our own kids, just like our parents guided us, offering that steady, protective hand.
But the cycle continues, doesn't it?
It does, because as our parents get older, the roles start to subtly reverse. We find we must reach out our hands to support them as they age.
Helping them finish their journey.
Yeah, offering the care they once gave us. And then finally, in our own old age, we often find we gradually need our children to support us in turn.
Completing the circle.
Exactly. The source sums it up. From up, parallel to down, until mutual support. It's just this powerful picture of continuous reciprocal care and connection in families.
Always giving or receiving support. Leading, walking beside, or being helped.
It really highlights how deeply interconnected we are.
It captures the human journey so well. But okay, how does this universal human hand-in-hand experience loop back to faith? To the core spiritual message here, it's a great parallel. But what's the spiritual takeaway, especially for our homes?
It brings it right into the family. Wiersbe identifies the family as like the main training ground for faith and values.
The primary place.
Yeah. The pastor's strong message is about the vital importance of actively applying Christian faith right there within the family structure, saying, Christ is the head of my home. It's not just a nice saying or a plaque.
It's more than that.
It's presented as the most important foundation of faith, an active, daily commitment.
Is there an example of that in the source?
A powerful one, Joshua. At nearly 110 years old, just before he died, he gathered the new generations of Israelites and declared, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
Wow, at 110.
Yeah, it wasn't just personal. It was a foundational statement, a legacy of faith for his whole family, his whole community. It's about consciously putting faith at the heart of the household, actively guiding the next generation, like holding their hand down the spiritual path.
Wiersbe's reflection also makes a really poignant point about parents' responsibilities that really makes you think it goes beyond just worldly success, right?
Oh, absolutely. The reflection really emphasizes that the parental role is far, far more than just pushing kids to, chase advanced degrees, earn more money, or get caught up in ruthless competition.
Things society often values most.
Right. While those might be common goals, the true lasting job is instilling true faith and solid life values. That's the bedrock. That's what shapes character, resilience, compassion.
The source mentions specific kinds of teaching.
It does. Two really insightful concepts for parents. Research teaching, Yanjiao, and life teaching, Shengjiao.
Okay, what's the difference?
Yanjiao is that academic, intellectual side knowledge, degrees, skills. Important, yes. But Shengjiao, life teaching, that's about imparting practical wisdom for living.
Like character building.
Exactly. Cultivating character, empathy, ethical decision-making, modeling a loving, values-driven life. Wiersbe argues you need both, but it's shengzhou that truly earns children's deep respect not just for achievements, but for integrity, and helps them adapt to life with loving parents.
So it's about how you live your faith, not just what you say.
Precisely. It's lived faith. And this distinction matters because, as the reflection observes, there's a concerning trend.
What's that?
That some second and third generations have lost enthusiasm for faith, or maybe left the church due to societal trends.
Yeah, you hear about that?
It's not a judgment, just an observation highlighting the ongoing challenge, the urgency of parental guidance and faith. Instilling values isn't a one-off lesson. It's continuous, active, lived shengzhou that builds that lasting spiritual legacy. That really brings it down to the practical level. So, if God is always hand in hand with us, and we're called to embody that guiding, supportive role in our families, our communities, what does that look like day to day? How do we build that fortress of faith?
Well, it gives us a very practical framework. Wiersbe suggests that by consciously living these values, we naturally start using truth as our standard for judging things.
Okay.
Which in turn fosters genuine love and tolerance.
Yeah.
And it encourages honest repentance when we mess up, which, we all do.
Sure.
This whole approach, he argues, helps build an internal stronghold, that fortress of faith, protecting us from things like arrogance, cruelty, malice, and other evils common in the world.
Like a proactive defense.
Exactly, a defense against that moral corrosion that can creep in, and ultimately it reinforces that really comforting idea. God, our Heavenly Father, and Christ, the head of the church, they will forever hold our hand.
Not just sometime, forever, and lead us through life's path with divine love. It's not fleeting guidance, it's a promise of constant, unwavering affection and leadership, guiding us toward real peace and purpose.
Wow. What a journey we've taken today. We started by understanding that huge shift between the old and new covenants.
From human promise to divine grace.
Right, setting the stage for God's intimate relationship with us. Then we explored that hand-in-hand metaphor, God's guidance, and how it plays out in human relationships through life.
That whole cycle of support.
Yeah, that evolving cycle. And finally, we tied it all to its vital role in shaping faith and values in our families, building that essential fortress of faith.
In a pretty challenging world.
Absolutely. So we really hope you'll take some time to reflect on the ways God guides you, like a father guiding a child. And maybe think about your own role in extending that guiding, supportive hand within your own circles, family, community. Cherish those connections.
The ones given and received. And maybe a final thought to chew on. Given that natural human tendency to, fail to obey, like the Old Covenant showed, what does it truly mean in your own life, practically, to actively let God take your hand each day?
How is that different from just meaning well?
Yeah, how does it differ from just intending to follow good advice or just promising you'll obey? It really gets at surrender, doesn't it? Active trust. Allowing that divine grace to genuinely lead your steps.
Something to really consider. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Hand in Hand.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
May you find peace and joy in those powerful connections, divine and human, that uphold and guide you on life's incredible path.